Life is unpredictable. It twists and turns in ways we can't imagine. One minute we are on a certain path, the next everything changes. These turning points often appear out of nowhere, a chance encounter, an unexpected opportunity, a single decision that alters everything. These moments have the power to redefine who we are. They push us beyond our comfort zones. They reveal our hidden strengths. Sometimes we recognize them, other times they pass us by unnoticed, but they shape our journeys nonetheless. This is the power of the unexpected. The air crackled with tension. The mahogany table gleamed under the harsh fluorescent lights. Around it sat a dozen figures, impeccably dressed, faces etched with seriousness. This was the boardroom of a Fortune 500 company. Decisions made here had global implications. Millions of dollars were at stake. The CEO, a man known for his sharp intellect and even sharper tongue, held court. His voice, though calm, commanded attention. He spoke of market trends, profit margins, and ambitious expansion plans. Charts and graphs flashed across the projector screen. Each slide represented countless hours of work, meticulous research, and calculated risks. The weight of expectation hung heavy in the air, and in the background, almost invisible, stood a woman. Her name was Maria. She pushed her cleaning cart discreetly along the perimeter of the room. Years of experience had taught her to be invisible, to move silently, efficiently, without drawing attention to herself. Her presence was a necessity, not a distraction. The executives barely acknowledged her. They were engrossed in their world of figures and forecasts. Maria had come to this country with nothing but a dream for a better life for her children. She worked tirelessly, juggling multiple jobs. Cleaning offices was just one of them. It wasn't glamorous, but it provided for her family. And so, she cleaned, with quiet dignity and a work ethic that never wavered. She listened sometimes to the conversations around her. The jargon washed over her, mostly incomprehensible, but she understood the language of numbers. She knew the stakes were high in this room. The presentation reached a critical point. The CEO was outlining a complex strategy for breaking into a new market. He spoke with conviction, his voice resonating with authority. The other executives listened intently, nodding in agreement. Maria too paused in her work. She found herself drawn in by the CEO's words. She couldn't grasp the intricacies of the strategy, but she understood the underlying message: growth, expansion, the pursuit of something bigger. The CEO mentioned a particular statistic. Maria, her mind wandering, thought she heard it wrong. She replayed his words in her head, comparing them to the numbers she had glimpsed on a discarded report earlier that day. The figure the CEO cited seemed off, significantly so. The weight of the decision pressed down on Maria. Her heart pounded in her chest. She looked around the room at the confident faces of the executives, at the CEO, his back turned as he gestured to the screen. She knew that speaking up would be stepping out of line, but something propelled her forward, a sense of right and wrong. "Excuse me, sir?" The room, which had been buzzing with conversation a moment ago, fell silent. All eyes turned to Maria. The CEO, caught off guard, turned to face her. "I believe that number is incorrect, sir. The report I saw earlier today had a different figure listed." The silence that followed her words was deafening. The air in the boardroom thickened. The CEO, his initial surprise giving way to a flicker of irritation, stared at Maria. He opened his mouth to speak, then closed it again, choosing his words carefully. The other executives exchanged uneasy glances. A cleaning lady questioning the CEO? This was unheard of. Maria, her heart pounding in her chest, stood her ground. She knew she had overstepped the invisible boundaries that defined her place in this room, but a strange sense of calm washed over her. "Perhaps there's been a misunderstanding. Why don't we have someone double-check that figure?" The CEO, regaining his composure, nodded curtly. "Yes, do that. In the meantime, perhaps we could continue with the presentation." Maria wasn't just a cleaning lady, she was a woman of depth, intelligence, and a past that few knew about. Born in a small village nestled amidst rolling hills, she had been a bright, inquisitive child. Her thirst for knowledge was insatiable. She devoured books, her imagination soaring with every page. Her teachers, recognizing her potential, encouraged her to dream big. They told her she could be anything she wanted to be. She excelled in her studies, particularly mathematics. Numbers came easily to her. They held a certain logic, a sense of order that appealed to her. She dreamed of becoming a teacher, of sharing her love of learning with others. But life, as it often does, had other plans. Her family, though loving, was poor. When she was just a teenager, her father fell ill. Years turned into decades. I married a kind, hardworking man. We started a family of our own. My children became my world. I poured all my love, my unfulfilled aspirations into them. She worked tirelessly to provide for them, taking on any job she could find. Cleaning, factory work, waitressing, she did it all. I never forgot my own dreams, though. Late at night, I would sit by the dim light of a kerosene lamp teaching myself English from old textbooks. The meeting continued, the interruption caused by Maria fading into the background. But for me, the moment I spoke up ignited something within me. A spark of my old self. The girl who dared to dream. The young woman who believed she could change the world. She thought about her own life, her education cut short by circumstances beyond her control. She thought about the sacrifices she had made, the opportunities she had missed. Even in my role as a cleaning lady, I observed, I listened, I learned, I soaked up information like a sponge. As the CEO continued his presentation, Maria couldn't help but think about the weight of his words. The decisions he made impacted the lives of countless people, including my own family. I thought about my son, who worked tirelessly at the factory, his dreams of going back to school constantly deferred due to financial constraints. I thought about my daughter, a bright spark with a passion for science, struggling to pay for her textbooks while working 2 part-time jobs. Their struggles, their aspirations were a constant reminder of the inequalities that persisted in the world. I had always taught my children to respect authority, to work hard, and to make the best of their circumstances. But in that boardroom, I realized that sometimes respect for authority had to be balanced with a commitment to truth, speaking up when something felt wrong. "You were right," he said, addressing Maria directly. "There seems to have been a typo in the report. The correct figure is significantly different." A murmur went around the room. The CEO, his face impassive, simply nodded. "Thank you for bringing that to our attention," he said, his tone neutral. The meeting continued, but the atmosphere had shifted. Maria, her heart still pounding, resumed her cleaning, but something had changed within her. A seed of hope had been planted. She realized that true empowerment came from the courage to speak one's truth. A hush fell over the room. The executives, used to the predictable rhythm of boardroom dynamics, shifted uncomfortably in their leather chairs. Maria, the cleaning lady, had become an unlikely disruptor. Her simple act of correcting the CEO had shattered the invisible wall that separated their worlds. Whispers, like ripples in a pond, spread around the table. Some faces betrayed annoyance, their carefully constructed composure shaken. Others, however, revealed a flicker of admiration. Maria, acutely aware of the scrutiny, kept her head down, continuing her work with a quiet dignity. She had spoken her truth. The CEO, a man accustomed to deference and unquestioned authority, masked his surprise well. Years of boardroom battles had honed his ability to maintain an air of composure, even when faced with the unexpected. But Maria's intervention had struck a nerve. It was a subtle crack in the facade of infallibility that he had carefully cultivated over the years. He cleared his throat, his voice regaining its usual authority. "As you can see," he continued, seamlessly weaving the interruption into the flow of his presentation, "accuracy is paramount in our line of work. Even the smallest discrepancy can have significant consequences." His words, though seemingly directed at the room as a whole, held a subtle undertone of reprimand. Maria, her back to the table, felt the weight of his gaze upon her. As the meeting drew to a close, a palpable shift occurred in the room. The initial shock had given way to a grudging respect. Maria's act of courage, her willingness to speak truth to power, had resonated more deeply than anyone could have anticipated. Even the most jaded executives, hardened by years of corporate maneuvering, couldn't deny the power of her simple act. "Thank you. Your attention to detail is commendable." The CEO, his presentation concluded, made his way towards the door, his entourage of executives trailing behind him. As he passed Maria, he paused, a flicker of something akin to respect crossing his features. Maria, taken aback by this unexpected acknowledgement, simply nodded. She didn't need praise or recognition. She had acted out of a sense of duty, a belief in the importance of truth. The boardroom, once buzzing with activity, slowly emptied. The executives, their faces etched with a mixture of contemplation and curiosity, filed out, their hushed conversations following them down the hallway. Maria, left alone to tidy up the remnants of the meeting, allowed herself a small smile. She had never sought the limelight. Her life had been one of quiet dedication, of finding fulfillment in the smallest of victories. But sometimes fate had a way of pushing us beyond our comfort zones, of revealing strengths we never knew we possessed. That was quite something. Not many people would have done what you did. Sometimes the truth is more important than staying silent. As she finished her work, the young executive who had corroborated her observation reappeared at the doorway. He approached her, a hesitant smile on his face. Maria, her initial shyness giving way to a quiet confidence, met his gaze. Little did she know this simple exchange marked the beginning of an unlikely friendship, one that would change the course of her life forever. The young executive David found himself drawn to Maria's quiet strength. He had grown up in a world of privilege, his path paved with the advantages of wealth and education. Yet he recognized a kindred spirit in Maria, a shared belief in the power of integrity. He sought her out, initially for brief conversations during his coffee breaks. He was curious about her life, her journey, the experiences that had shaped her unwavering moral compass. "Maria, can I ask you something? How did you develop such a strong sense of integrity?" Maria, initially hesitant, warmed to his genuine interest. David's willingness to see her, to truly listen to her story, touched her deeply. She shared snippets of her past, her dreams deferred, her unwavering commitment to her children's future. "It wasn't easy, David, but I always believed that doing the right thing, no matter how hard, was the only way to live." Their conversations became a bridge between two worlds that rarely collided. Immersed in high finance and corporate strategy, I gained new perspectives from Maria's grounded wisdom, insights into lives often overlooked in the pursuit of profit. Through David's eyes, I saw the corporate world as a complex ecosystem, each with their own motivations and struggles. He shared his love of learning and passion for history, subjects that once captivated Maria's imagination. I encouraged her to reignite her curiosity. He brought her books from his collection, his enthusiasm contagious as they shared insights. I shared my perspective on navigating poverty and systemic inequalities. David, broadened by her experiences, saw the limitations of his privileged upbringing. David, inspired by Maria's story, became determined to help her pursue her long-deferred dream of furthering her education. I discreetly inquired about tuition assistance programs offered by the company, scholarship opportunities for non-traditional students, and online learning platforms that could provide her with the flexibility she needed. Maria, initially resistant, her sense of pride clashing with her deeply ingrained belief that opportunities like this weren't meant for people like her, found herself slowly swayed by David's unwavering support. I reminded her of the young girl who devoured books, the determined young woman who taught herself English while juggling multiple jobs. He helped her navigate the complexities of online applications, encouraged her to embrace the challenges of returning to a formal learning environment after all these years, and celebrated her small victories along the way. Word of Maria's courage, her willingness to speak up in the boardroom, spread through the company grapevine. What had initially been perceived as an act of defiance, a breach of protocol, gradually morphed into a tale of quiet heroism, a testament to the importance of integrity and moral courage. The company, under the CEO's carefully calculated guidance, decided to capitalize on the unexpected PR opportunity. My initial apprehension gave way to a quiet sense of purpose as I found myself thrust into the spotlight. She shared her story, her message of empowerment and the importance of education at company events and in internal newsletters. My story, a beacon of hope and inspiration, resonated far beyond the walls of the corporate world. Local news outlets picked up on her story, her message of courage and resilience striking a chord with a public hungry for authenticity. The seeds of transformation, sown in the sterile environment of a corporate boardroom, had taken root, their tendrils reaching out to touch the lives of countless others. Maria's story, once confined to the hushed whispers of the cleaning staff and the hushed tones of the boardroom, now echoed in unexpected corners of the world. Newspapers across the country picked up on her simple act of courage, her unwavering commitment to truth in the face of power. She became an unlikely symbol of integrity, her story resonating with people from all walks of life. The company, initially caught off guard by the public's positive response to Maria's story, recognized the opportunity to showcase its commitment to diversity and inclusion. Maria, once invisible, became a sought-after speaker at company events. She shared her story with humility and grace, inspiring others to find their voice regardless of their position. Her message transcended the corporate world, reaching classrooms, community centers, and living rooms. People wrote to her, sharing their own stories of courage, of overcoming adversity, of finding their voice in unexpected places. Maria, overwhelmed by the outpouring of support, realized that her story had touched a universal chord, a longing for authenticity, for integrity, for a world where everyone's voice mattered. With David's unwavering support, Maria enrolled in an online program, her heart filled with a mix of excitement and trepidation. Years had passed since she last sat in a classroom, her textbooks replaced by cleaning supplies, her dreams put on hold to provide for her family. Yet the thirst for knowledge, the joy of learning had never truly left her. She approached her studies with the same quiet determination that had defined her life. Late at night, after her family was asleep, she would pore over her textbooks, her mind buzzing with new ideas, her heart soaring with the realization that she was finally pursuing her long-deferred dream. Her children, initially surprised by their mother's decision to return to school, became her biggest cheerleaders. They helped her navigate the technical challenges of online learning, celebrated her successes, and offered encouragement when she felt overwhelmed. Maria, witnessing her children's pride in her accomplishments, realized that her journey was not just about her own personal fulfillment, but about setting an example for her children, showing them that it was never too late to pursue their dreams. As Maria delved deeper into her studies, she discovered a passion for economics, for understanding the forces that shaped global markets, the intricate dance between supply and demand. She excelled in her classes, her sharp mind, honed by years of managing a tight household budget, grasping complex concepts with ease. Her professors, impressed by her insights and her unwavering work ethic, encouraged her to share her unique perspective in class discussions. Initially, I was hesitant, my voice trembling with years of self-doubt. But I found myself speaking up, my words carrying the weight of my lived experiences, my insights challenging conventional wisdom. She spoke of the human cost of economic policies, the struggles of families living paycheck to paycheck, the challenges of navigating a system that often seemed designed to keep certain people down. Her classmates, many of them from privileged backgrounds, listened intently, their perspectives broadened by her stories, their understanding of the world deepened by her insights. Years later, Maria stood on a stage, her family beaming with pride in the audience. She had traded her cleaning uniform for a graduation gown, her heart overflowing with accomplishment and gratitude. She had found her voice, inspiring countless others to embrace education. I had become a sought-after speaker, my message of empowerment resonating far beyond the corporate world. I established a foundation to provide educational opportunities for underprivileged women. Maria had become a beacon of hope, her story a testament to the indomitable spirit within us all. Maria's story is a powerful reminder that greatness can emerge from the most unexpected places. It underscores the profound impact a single voice can have. Her journey dismantles the notion that our worth is determined by our job titles. True power lies in the courage to speak truth to authority. Her act of correcting the CEO set in motion a chain of events that transformed lives. It shattered the silence that often shrouds injustice. Maria's story is a testament to the power of the human spirit and its ability to inspire change. Maria's story is not just about her, It reflects a universal longing for authenticity, where integrity and courage are valued. It urges us to examine our lives, to choose courage over comfort, truth over silence. It challenges us to recognize our shared humanity. Every interaction can spark change, creating a ripple effect. Maria's story is a legacy of courage, a testament to the power of education. It reminds us that justice and equality require our active participation. Her journey inspires us to embrace our voices and stand up for what we believe in. Never underestimate the impact we can have on the world.